Hey everyone, this is my very first experience with Demon Slayer. So you are getting a complete newbie's perspective on Infinity Castle. For context, the franchise really started out as a manga written by Koyoharu Gotouge. It then became an anime series in 2019, followed by some films that were associated with the series. Now it's back in theaters with Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle, the first film in a trilogy that's being adapted from the manga's final arc. After watching Neza 2 as my entry point into that story world, I really wanted to see what Demon Slayer would be like for a complete newbie like me, a new viewer coming in cold. So the real question for me was, if I haven't read the manga or watched the anime, can I still follow and enjoy this movie? Or is it really made for longtime fans? And that's the perspective that I'm bringing here. I also want to hear from you guys, whether you are new to the series or if you've been following it from the start. What am I getting right? What do I have to look forward to in the future films? And what did you think of Infinity Castle? All right, so let's get into it. And I just have to say, please, please forgive my mispronunciations. I am going to do my very best. I practiced all the names, but yet I get very nervous when I pronounce other people's names because I want to do it right. I want to do a really good job with it. But I know I'm going to mess something up. And in advance, I just need to apologize. And I am definitely going to do my best. I promise. All right, so let's get into Demon Slayer. All right, so the Demon Slayer core are drawn into Infinity Castle, and that is the domain of the master demon Muzan Kibutsuji for a final showdown against him and the Demon Slayer's leader, Kajaya Ubuyashiki, is on the brink of death, and he decides to use himself as bait to lure Muzan, giving the Slayers one night to infiltrate the castle, navigate the constantly shifting layout, defeat the powerful demons inside, and reach Muzan before time runs out. Easy, right? Once inside, the Demon Slayer Corps split into smaller teams to cover more ground as they search for Muzan. While many Slayers are present in the film, Infinity Castle really focuses on three primary battles. The first one is with Shinobu Kocho, who takes on Doma in the fight fueled by memories of her sister Hanae. The battle with Doma doesn't end there. It continues on and it leaves you wondering just what comes next. What happens after that? The next battle, the second one that we really see focused on here, is featuring Zenitsu Agatsuma, who faces his former brother in training, Kajaku, who betrayed the demon slayers by becoming a demon and whose actions led ultimately to the death of their master, Jigoru Kuwajima. And the final and third battle that is just central to this story features Tanjiro Kamado and Giyu Tomioka, who joined forces against Akaza, one of the most dangerous upper rank demons in Infinity Castle. So Muzan commands the upper rank demons, and while we see plenty of side battles with lower demons throughout the castle, the film focuses on three major upper rank battles that we've just identified. Each new confrontation includes these flashbacks that reveal the demons' human pasts, their ties to the slayers, the emotional losses on both sides, and the unique combat skills that the slayers bring to the battle. We also see more of the Hashira, and they are the elite warriors within the Demon Slayer Corps. And we see how their group functions in battle. Since this is the first film of the trilogy, it doesn't have a neatly wrapped ending, but the final battle in the film really is the most emotional and serves as a very strong jumping off point for the next film. Going into these battles, my first impression was that the structure of Infinity Castle feels a whole lot like a video game. The Hashira have to track down the lead demon inside of this sprawling maze of buildings, battling through hordes of lower demons, then facing off against the upper ranked demons, and finally closing in on Muzan. The shifting castle walls, the boss level battles, and the sense of characters powering up as they fight all reinforce that feeling. If you already know the manga or anime, you'll have no trouble just following along with the who's who and how their powers work. But if you're brand new, like me, expect a little confusion at first. Still, if you have even a basic sense of gaming or manga or fantasy storytelling with magic and demon lore as part of that, I think you'll actually pick it all up pretty quickly. It's not that hard. It just takes a lot of kind of concentration in the moment. I decided to watch this film in IMAX because I really wanted the best visual experience possible. And that meant I would be watching the Japanese language version with subtitles. And that's always a little more challenging for me because I'm actually dyslexic. And it's often very difficult for me to follow along with subtitles in that kind of situation. But on the big screen, it's so much easier than on a television or a small screen, which is one reason I don't watch a lot of subtitled work on smaller screens. But I gotta say, watching the Japanese version was fantastic. There's something special about foreign made films when you can actually hear the native language as part of the experience. It adds a level of authenticity that I just love. That said, the subtitles can move a little bit fast, especially with those action scenes in which I really wanted to watch what was happening on screen, but I also needed to follow the rapid fire dialogue. And that didn't leave a whole lot of time to kind of absorb the story as you're kind of like watching the screen, watching the words, screen, word, screen. And you do get into a rhythm of it. You really do. So it's not impossible. If I can do it, I think pretty much anybody can do it. I have such a hard time. And so much of this film really is about the visuals. The great thing, though, is that the story makes so much sense through the imagery that even if you miss a line in the subtitles, you still get a basic understanding of what's happening on screen and who the characters are and what they're doing. Visually, Infinity Castle is beyond stunning. It's gorgeous. The film feels like a work of moving art with textures and colors and cultural imagery that just make it seem as though the manga has literally come alive on the screen and just kind of leapt out into the world. The film feels like everything Disney and Pixar are not doing right now. And I actually don't mean that in a bad way. It really is just a stylistic difference. There are different ways of telling stories, there are different ways of creating animation. And when you incorporate an artistic style into that animation process, you get a whole new kind of animation style. And that's really what we're looking at here. So when I say it's nothing like what Disney or Pixar are doing, I really mean it. It's like just a different style, it's different artistic style. And it's firmly rooted in the traditions of anime, blending this kind of flat, stylized artwork with dimension, shape, and form, while still preserving its manga origins and the feeling of just that dynamic movement on screen. And it really did, again, it really felt like moving artwork, which of course it really was. There's this fluidity and fierceness to the artwork as it builds, it flows and it explodes on screen. Then, when the action pauses, there are these moments that just kind of pull us right back into the manga, where we get these shots that are very manga esque, if that's even a word, that really inspired the story and all of these characters. The story itself shifts quickly. It picks up the pace, moving through new locations, introducing more Hashira and demons, and it's all done in a storytelling rhythm that just pulls you deeper and deeper into the film without ever letting up on the action. The result is this immersive world that just kind of swallows you whole. Even with the near nonstop action, the film runs 2.5 hours, and it did feel like they could have trimmed 15 to 20 minutes without losing any context. The battles are intense and relentless, often accompanied by the characters' internal monologues that explain how they're feeling and why they're fighting the way they are. And that's all kind of layered over their verbal exchanges in combat. Combined with the many flashbacks needed to provide context, this really does add bulk to the story and it slowed the pacing down a little bit at times. Still, these moments were really important for viewers like me who would have been lost without that emotional grounding and that backstory woven into the battles with these upper level demons. Because of the backstory in those flashbacks, including family members lost, comrades betrayed, and demons who still remember their human past, there is a lot of emotion woven into each battle. Scenes with Shinobu and her feelings about her sister, Zenitsu reflecting on his master's teachings and techniques, Tanjiro recalling his family, and then, of course, Akaza confronting his own grief, all build together to give the film the emotional weight that it needed to carry the story, even if some of it was hard to follow or could have used a little more fleshing out. The film still ends on an emotional beat that leaves you wanting more. Because I'm a newcomer to the story, I judge the characters based on what the film gives us, especially in the flashbacks and the battle. There were a few that actually stood out for me. Tanjiro, he is all heart. His character is at his best in the moments when someone else's life is in danger. His fight with Akaza is emotionally powerful because of what he remembers, what he learned from his father, and how he sees other demon slayers like Giyu. And then there's Giyu, who is teamed up with Tanjiro and is really a pinnacle of strength and experience. The way he unlocks his mark shows this master level talent that is just surprising. And I get this feeling like he's really one of the people that we look up to quite a lot because everybody is looking up to him. When he and Tanjiro fight together, you see their connection shift as they both grow in the battle, forced to reach these new levels of their talent, or at least do that or try dying. It really is that simple for them. And then there's Shinobu. She carries the weight of her sister, Hanae, and her fight with Doma is shaped by that grief. While she feels a little flatter than Tanjiro as a character, there is this deeper emotional pull with her, and that battle just kind of brings in those emotions of love and loss because of her sister, which makes her really dangerous and makes her able to pull kind of deeper into her power than she might have been able to do otherwise. And Doma just finds that fascinating. And Doma is just, I have to say, I think he's my favorite demon. He's just so quirky and weird. Kind of like that guy a lot. I'm going to have to look into him more. Then there's Zenitsu and Kaigaku. And they share one of the most personal fights. Zenitsu's journey is really layered with competitiveness, betrayal, and guilt, and it gives him more depth than just being an anxious, comedic relief kind of character. When he fights Kaigaku, he taps into something sadder and angrier that fuels his strength because his battle is so personal in every way. And then there's the upper rank demons, and given their backstories that show they were once human, it really adds almost like a personal level to their part of the fight in those key battles. This makes it easier to understand what they became and what motivates them now. Akaza's story in particular is given room to breathe in a way that the others aren't. I mean, they get into each of the demons' stories, but it's really a Kaza story that is so emotional here. And this is important since his battle is really the emotional anchor of the film. So by the end, you see both the demon and the human that he once was, and you understand them both, and you have sympathy for them both, as well as the choices that made him who he is now, and how hard it is for him to escape those choices. Those choices almost make more choices for him, regardless of what he wants. Overall, some characters feel thinner, especially if their flashbacks are brief or their role in the battle is less central. Even so, the film does enough to show motivations and stakes so that we understand why the battles actually do matter. So, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu Yaiba, Infinity Castle. Sure, it's a long movie title and it's kind of hard for me to say, but is it ticket worthy, especially for someone who is unfamiliar with this series? If you are a fan of manga, if you enjoy anime films, or if you're already familiar with the Demon Slayer saga, I think you're going to really love this movie. So, yeah, I think it's ticket worthy, absolutely, especially if you're already a fan. Everything about it seems built just for you. The visuals, the stakes, the battles, the emotional arcs, they all land more strongly if you know at least some of the world. If you're new like me, there is a bit of a learning curve. Whether you choose the subtitled or the dubbed version, you may still struggle a little bit, especially at first, because there are a lot of names, there are a lot of terminology to learn, and a lot to just know about how the Hashira's powers work. I do think it helps to watch a few episodes of the first series. I kind of wish I had, but that wasn't what I wanted to do with this film. I really wanted the newcomers experience so that people new to this series will understand what it's like to watch this film as their entry point. But you know what? It's not essential. You're still going to get it. And from a visual and storytelling perspective, I think there's still so much to enjoy. For that reason, I think Demon Slayer Infinity Castle is absolutely worth the price of admission, even for a first time viewer like me. So just be ready for the length, be ready for the violence, and be ready for that fast moving action. So, Demon Slayer fans, what did you think of Infinity Castle? Have you seen it yet? Are you planning to go soon? And for those of you who have never watched the series, is this something you're willing to give a try? If you do see it, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And I have to ask, how did I do? Did I miss anything? I feel like maybe I might have gotten a few details either maybe not wrong, but not quite right. And I do love being corrected. I like to know when I get something wrong or if I get something out of order here. So please do let me know because that will actually enrich my experience and I will enjoy the series even better because I've been playing with it a lot in my head and I actually kind of love it now. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you so much for being here. Please do give this review a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and share this with a friend. And while you're here, feel free to check out one of these other reviews, and I'll see y'all again soon. Until then, happy viewing. Bye for now.